Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Outside the Gridiron. I'm Brett, as always, and with always, Max is here as well. How are we
How you
doing?
doing? Oh, jinx. That was good. It was a good week. It was honestly like I don't know. When the Vikings aren't playing, that interest in football around the league goes down, but it was still a pretty interesting week.
Yeah, exactly. I was kind of the same way. I'm like, usually, I wake up Sunday morning feeling good, ready for a Vikings game. Um, get up early and everything like that. Yesterday, I kind of just wanted to sleep in. I'm like, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, you don't have to stress out as much either with the Vikings not playing because you know you're gonna go through some amount of stress when the Vikings are playing. Um,
It's a guarantee.
so it was a nice little relaxation of a day with the family
Hmm.
yesterday. Still watched majority of the games and everything like that, but yeah, it was an interesting week of football again. Um, some upsets, some games with the way we thought they would, but the game I'm going to start with right away, which is very very interesting in my eyes. Like this offense couldn't do anything yesterday. And it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing to the Carolina Panthers. Um, it was like they couldn't move the ball. I mean, and then
Hmm.
they couldn't convert on third down, even third and shorts. They just couldn't take advantage. And Carolina's kind of like they're not good. I mean, they're trading their players away.
They're
Well, they said
tanking,
now they're
yeah.
going to keep majority of their guys, but it's just an interesting loss here for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it's a Panthers team that I feel like is pretty openly willing to tank. I mean, they fired their coach. They got rid
Yep.
of their best player.
Yep.
Top whatever, one of their best players. And
Right.
like I just don't understand how the Buccaneers can't score off of. I mean, this defense is horrible and this offense is really bad. PJ Walker looked like a top 10 quarterback
Yeah.
yesterday. And that's a Tampa Bay defense that I think people were fearing at the beginning of the year.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Tampa Bay's got players at every level of that defense and a defensive head coach, and they're just not looking good right now. And Carolina, like, they're not really playing. They're playing for pride and everything like that, especially when you're, like you said, one of your best players gets traded. You kind of want to prove a point. But Tampa Bay on offense, too, they got weapons all over, too. They got Mike Evans, they got players to get the ball to, and they just
Mhm.
couldn't get anything done. They fall to 3-4. I mean, that
Ugh.
division's a little bit more interesting than we thought, I think, to be honest, because Tampa Bay, they have not played well at all.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm team
The
Falcons
last
all the
couple.
way in that division.
Yeah.
They're
I
they've been the most fun. I think Marcus Mariota's done pretty good.
Yep.
Arthur Smith is like kind of a treat to watch their offense like work every week. I mean,
Yep.
they just have pieces and they have a lot of no names on that team that are making plays, and then they still don't even have Cordero Patterson back yet. One of their best
Right.
players.
Yep.
I can't. The Falcons have been a fun watch, and that division is rough. That is a rough division to be in.
It is a rough division, that's for sure, and I think everyone thought the Buccaneers were, like, the clear-cut favorite, and some people even like the Saints, at the beginning of the year as well, and they haven't been playing well either. Um, I think they're 2-5 now. And then Atlanta's surprised some people, and then Carolina, obviously, where they're at as well. But it's gonna be interesting to see if they get it figured out. They have the talent to do it, but it's been 3 or 4 weeks where they've just not played well on
Yeah,
either
it's
side
kind
of the
of
ball.
the last few years, the Packers they went 13-3, 13-3, and then 13-4 last year. And
Yep.
in those losses for the Packers, it's kind of a similar thing where it's like once they kind of just got punched in the mouth, they just couldn't dig themselves out of a hole. Kind
Mhm.
of just like this whole like mental lapses when the teams just play really hard against them and they get down. And
Yep.
I'm kind of seeing a similar thing with the Bucs team where once like something happens, they face some type of adversity. It's just hard for them to respond to that.
Yeah, they're not responding well at all, and that's usually, like, the definition of a Tom Brady team. Like, if stuff's not going right, they're gonna get it figured out,
Oh
and it
yeah.
hasn't been the case, and I don't know if Tom Brady's just different personality-wise this year with all that's going on, but it's an interesting dynamic to look at, and it's an interesting division as well, something we didn't expect.
Hmm.
Going from a team that's kinda on the mend to a team that's playing really well, probably their best football in almost a decade, the New York Giants. They pull out another win here versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty entertaining game, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
But the Giants moved to 6-1.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite games of the weekend.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence played so well. Travis Etienne had like kind of a little, I guess I could call it like a little breakout game. He was
Yep.
fantastic. But the New York Football Giants, they just make plays
Yes,
when
they
they
do.
need to. I mean, every single game there's one or two plays where it's like they need something on defense, they need to stop, or they need to play on offense. Like they can just kind of grind it out. And this is an NFC that is so flawed. And we'll talk about it, later, but this is a bad NFC. And you have a team that's as gritty as the Giants. They've won a lot of close games. They've trailed in every fourth quarter this year,
It's
and
crazy.
they're what is it, 6-1 now?
6-1
So,
now.
I mean, you got to love what Brian Dable and the Giants are doing.
Yep. Further improving his coach of the year odds, to be honest with you. 6-1. No one saw this at the beginning of the year for the New York Giants. Daniel Jones just looks so comfortable out there. Like, it's crazy from one year to the next how comfortable he looks. He's throwing the ball with accuracy. He had 107 yards rushing yesterday. People
Mm-hmm.
don't realize how mobile he is at times. But there's a couple of read options where all the defense is like focusing on Saquon. Okay, Saquon's going to
Mm-hmm.
get the ball. And it's just perfect that they do those read options where, you got to, choose one and you're probably going to get beat one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have a ton of talent in the wide receiver room. I mean, they got Darius Slayton, who had a pretty good game. Wandale Robinson's a nice little playmaker. Um, but I saw Daniel Bellinger got like poked in the eye yesterday or something like that. I don't know if you saw that. He got
Mm-mm.
poked in the eye. His eye was like huge, and there was blood coming from it and stuff like
Oh
that.
wow.
He had to get sent to a local hospital. So hopefully he's doing okay.
Yeah,
But
he's been a target of Daniel Jones
yeah,
a
he's
lot
been
this
pretty
year.
good. Yeah, for sure. So that they do have some weapons, and it's just fun to see them play really well.
Yeah, and Daniel Jones is not going to blow you away in the stat chart, but I mean, just like you said, just watching him play, he is comfortable. I mean, they're using a lot of designed runs with him, which is great.
Yep.
Um, but like, man, that Giants team, it's again, you look at it and you're like, they're elite at maybe two positions, and
Yeah.
then the rest of it is
It's
just
true.
like they're just really overall just really good.
Yeah, it's true, and I think coaching is a big part of that. What we've said. Yeah, it's just really fun to see them get back to winning football, at least for
Hmm.
the time being. 6-1, second in the NFC East. That NFC East is a pretty darn good division, to be honest with you. So,
Who
um,
would have thought?
who would have thought? Who would have thought? Not me, that's for sure. All right, on to the next one. We had a pretty exciting debut that we were looking forward to, but the Chiefs spoiled Christian McCaffrey's debut. Um, it was a pretty close game going into the fourth quarter, and then the wheels just kind of came off for San Francisco. They ended up losing 44-23 to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. What was your main takeaway in that game, Max?
I mean, Chiefs, one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, probably, maybe, I don't know. They're definitely top three. Eagles, Bills,
Yeah.
Chiefs. It's kind of what we've been saying. Like, those are the only three really like great teams or teams that
Yep.
have looked great.
Yep.
Um, man, Patrick Mahomes can do it all. I don't look too much into this for the 49ers.
Sure.
The 49ers have games every single year where they just don't look great, and then they're going to make the NFC Championship again. It's just
Yeah.
kind of been a thing the 49ers do. They play their best football in the postseason, but
Yep.
um, yeah, man. Juju Smith-Schuster, what an acquisition for the Chiefs because he's
He's
kind of
been
got
great.
rolling the last few weeks, especially.
Yeah.
I think he said I saw something yesterday. He's on pace for over 100 catches and 1,200 yards, and like if that's what you're going to get for a receiver you paid $4 million for, that is that's great value
You
right
can't
there.
ask for much more. Can't ask for
Mm-mm.
much more. Yeah, and like you said, the last couple of weeks he's played great. He's been fitting into this offense um, pretty darn well. Um, and it's nice to see, like back in Pittsburgh, like he averaged like 9 or 10 yards, like a catch. Like he wasn't getting much yards after the reception. A lot
Mhm.
of underneath stuff. And they're finally starting to use him in Kansas City, of course, Andy Reid's system, but he's starting to get down the field more, and he's thriving in it, and it's really fun
Mhm.
to see. But I don't look like you said, I don't look too much into this. There's a lot of hype coming into this game with Christian McCaffrey and everything like that. And he didn't play a ton. I think he had like 10 touches or something like that. But
Yeah.
he's gonna make a difference in that offense. Like I said, I think it was like a 28-23 ball game towards the start of the fourth quarter, and then the wheels just kind of came off. Kansas City will do that to you sometimes, but I think they'll be fine. They're 3-4. They have been in this position before where they've kind of struggled at times, and like you said, they just end up going to the NFC
Yeah,
Championship.
and I mean, the NFC West is also just a very weak division too. I mean, Seattle's first with 4, like, they have a 4-3 record, and then you have no other team has more than I mean, every team other than that has 3 wins. So,
Yeah,
it's just also a division where I think it still can kind of flip-flop either way. And
sure.
49ers are not healthy, but I guess they never like, when are the 49ers ever healthy? Just
I
a
feel,
physical brand of football or practice or something, but they're always banged up.
I feel it's like the 49ers, the Chargers, and the Ravens always have like a ton of injuries for some reason.
Mhm.
I feel like it's those three teams all the time. And then we haven't talked about the Chargers or anything, but I think J.C. Jackson like tore his ACL or something
Yeah, I think I saw his,
yesterday.
like, kneecap, like, popped out or something.
Oh, is that what it was?
Ugh.
Yeah, like, and then Mike Williams, like a couple of their really good players got injured yesterday. I'm like, come on now.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, 44-23 game. The Chiefs, they're one of the best teams in football. 49ers will be okay. They'll start playing really good football when it matters, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
But that was a good game to watch. Going to kind of an ugly game, the 16-9 win for the Jets. Speaking of injuries, Brees Hall, it sounds like he did tear
Oh,
his ACL,
so
who is
sad.
just having a tremendous rookie year.
Mhm.
Um, Jets just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
But they are 5-2. They beat the Nathaniel Hackett led Broncos with Brett Ripien at quarterback. But what do you think of that win for the Jets?
I mean, good win for the Jets. I mean, anytime you can win in the league, I think it's good. The Brees Hall loss, their offense, Zach Wilson is not the answer. Their offense hasn't been very good. Brees Hall has been one of the lone bright spots in the offense. So
Yeah,
this is a huge loss. However, I don't know. I'm not gonna say wrap up the season for the Jets because you can still, you're in the playoffs if the season ended today, but
yeah,
not the worst thing with a team that's still like overperforming and like
yeah,
they weren't expected to be good this year. It's kind of in the future years. So not horrible, but man, those Broncos, I think this took a lot of pressure off of Russell Wilson, seeing
yeah,
how bad the offense still performed with Brett Ripien.
for sure. Yeah, I would agree with that. I just I think the quarterback has some blame in it, but it's just the way this offense is set up. It's
Mm-hmm.
not set up for success. It's not explosive. It's just penalty ridden. It's just not pretty.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who's at quarterback, I think it's not going to work out. And unfortunately, I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett's going to be a one and done. I don't know if he's going to be fired midseason, but I don't think it's going to work out in the long run. To be honest with you,
Yeah, and they honestly they ran the ball really well last year, and I know that that was like kind of a what people call like a prehistoric offense.
yeah,
But they don't run the ball very well. They have decent running backs. I mean, even like Latavius Murray, I mean, he's older, but he's still got it. And Melvin Gordon is more than capable running back. When he's not fumbling the ball,
yeah,
they just can't really get anything going on offense.
yeah. It's really weird, and it's just crazy to see how well the Packers offense played last year with Nathaniel Hackett kind of running the show with
Mm-hmm.
with Lafleur, and then he gets kind of his own team over in Denver, and it's just a train wreck. And I will segue quick into this game here. The Commanders do beat the Packers 23-21. Just
Unreal.
yeah, it is unreal. Taylor Heineke led Washington Commanders, and I feel like the Commanders that team responds a little bit better like they respond well to Taylor Heineke. Like they get behind him and play really hard for him. But no one really expected that, and the Packers offense as well is not with Aaron Rodgers at the helm has not looked good. Um, First 3-game losing streak for the Matt LaFleur led Green Bay Packers in his tenure.
It's
So
been wild. I mean,
yeah,
the Packers team that has made 0 adjustments in all 3 of the losses. I mean, it's crazy. Like
Yeah,
it's something that I mean, even when I was playing high school football, it was like you're making adjustments every
oh,
week
for
on things
sure.
that's wrong. Like it's crazy. Every single week, press conference, Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur. We need to run the ball more. We need to make sure we get the ball to Aaron Jones.
Yep,
Aaron Jones had, I think it was like eight rushes yesterday.
yep,
It's just I can't believe I can't believe the lack of like awareness in that. And I don't know if it's the play calls coming in or Aaron Rodgers is like moving. He's changing the plays. It's just it's kind of disgusting.
it is.
It's not very fun to watch.
It is, and everyone was talking how great Matt LaFleur is. I mean, he has one of the highest winning, if not the highest winning percentage in like the first 2 or 3 years of his head coaching. But yeah, zero adjustments. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers, kind of hid those flaws in the previous years, and without Devontae Adams and kind of not great weapons around him this year, that it just hasn't looked good on the field. But like you said, Aaron Jones had like 8 touches, but he had 2 touchdowns. I'm
Hmm.
like, shouldn't that give you enough, information where you need to get this guy the football? He's probably your main playmaker right now.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
Um,
Aaron Rodgers, he's not, he has not played very well. He's not free of any blame, but man,
yep,
like Aaron Jones is your best football player,
yeah,
both sides of the ball, and they just do not give him the ball. I can't, man, the Packers, it's been like funny to watch, right? It's like, oh,
yeah,
they lose to the Giants and the Jets. But
yep,
now you're like, okay, Giants are 6-1. The Jets are like feisty. They're a really underrated team.
yep,
And then it's like now you just lose to the Commanders. That is, I mean, where's the bottom, right? Like where's the
yeah,
how low does it go for the Packers? And like
exactly.
this Bills game next week is if I mean they can, I've seen crazier things like the Packers could come out and this is like one of those games where it's like everything clicks for them and they beat
Yep,
the Bills, but like small sliver of hope for the Packers because you lose this next week like to the Bills, they're 3-5 on the season.
yeah. I mean, it's great to see as a Vikings fan. I'm loving every minute. I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
It's like the demise and downfall of the Packers dynasty because they've been so good for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they'll probably find a way to figure it out as they always do. But I've also been saying that the last 3-4 weeks, and it's been a train wreck every week. Um, so
It's just like unbelievable their offense. I mean, and you have a lot. I mean, the receivers don't really get that open.
yeah,
Christian, the Packers are funny because Christian, like the draft night was, this was like almost what everyone said. They're like George Pickens, first round talent. He is
yeah,
so good at football, but
yeah,
there was like what character concerns or injury concerns with him,
right,
so he falls in the second round. And the Packers had four chances to be able to take George Pickens. They could have doubled up on receiver if they didn't, but then they ended up trading with the Vikings, giving up 2 second rounders, take Christian Watson, a receiver who never had 1,000-yard season, had drop problems. I mean, now he's injured, so it's not necessarily to his fault, but
right.
they just had a lot of options to like get solid group of receivers, and there's just nothing there.
It's hilarious that they can continue to fail in that department.
Mm-hmm.
Like get Aaron Rodgers some weapons. Like, come on now,
Mm-hmm.
he deserves them. It's been this long. Like, just find him some weapons. Find him some NFL ready talent. Like Christian Watson, like he's got all this talent, but would anyone have called him like day one ready? And obviously he's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got him some like jet sweeps and stuff like that. Got him touching the ball, but like he was like first part of the second round. You expect more impact from a
Mm-hmm.
receiver. I mean, Romeo Dobbs is making more of an impact, and he was
Yeah.
selected in the later rounds. But
Absolutely. And
yeah,
then that was just like it was a weird decision. They went two defensive guys.
yeah,
Quay Walker's a starter, and I think he's been fine. I don't think he's been anything too special. He's a rookie, so
yeah,
don't hold that. And then Devontae Wyatt just, I mean, their pass rush just hasn't been that great. Rashawn Gary's, he's great, but other than
yeah,
that, like they couldn't get that much pressure. I mean, and Heineke's pretty mobile, but he's also a backup quarterback. Like you should be able to, suffocate your backup quarterbacks.
exactly.
And that Packers defense too is just not performing to the level it's supposed to be.
Nope. And like I said, I love it. I'm loving every minute of it.
It would be big if the Bills can like take it to them next week. I just have this thought in my head. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is just gonna throw 6 touchdowns and they're gonna
Yeah,
and they're
no,
gonna win, march into Buffalo, and
those intrusive thoughts always come in. They always come in, but I'm hoping for like a 45-10 beatdown.
Yeah.
But
That's
it'll
how
probably
much
be like
Aaron
a
Rodgers has
yeah,
wounded the Vikings, is we're like,
yeah,
"Oh, he's gonna beat the Bills."
yep. Yeah, that's true. We are gonna go into this dynamic that we've kind of been talking about. The curious case of Nathaniel Hackett. So he's the head coach of the Denver Broncos. They can't do anything on offense. I don't think they've scored over. I think their highest point total in like one game was like, did they get to like 23 at one point or something like
I
that?
think 23 one time, and then other than that, I think that's the only game where they might have scored, like, multiple
20.
touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah. And other than that, it's been like 16 to like 10 games and 16 to 14 or 18 to 12.
Mm,
It's just been ugly football.
mhm.
And they found a way to win 2 games when they probably shouldn't even have done that. But um, it just looks like a mess that he's not head coaching material. And then the Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, are a mess on offense. And he was kind of one of the main guys over there last year, and they looked really, really good last year. So what's got to give? What's kind of the story here? I mean, what's going on?
I think you had a good I think what happened was in Green Bay, it was a good match of offensive system to quarterback,
Yep.
and I mean, who doesn't want to have, he's the offensive coordinator for the team that just had back-to-back MVPs, right? It's a home run hire. Hackett always seems like a really good guy. He seems very personable. But I think that was kind of lost in this whole idea is Russ is not Aaron Rodgers. Russ is very good, but he like middle of the field is just not what Russ does. And it's really never been what Russ does. And
No.
and like Aaron Rodgers is like he's the guy who can he can put the ball anywhere on the field. He can go the go balls like Russ can, but also like he can rifle balls in the middle of the field and
Yep.
it'll be with perfect accuracy.
Yep.
And so I think there's just a little bit of like scheme wise that I think matching the quarterback is one thing. And I mean, I don't again Brett Rippon. This game is kind of like a wash to me because it's a backup quarterback, but yeah, I don't know. Treating Russ in a system that's, I guess, like was fitted for Aaron Rodgers, I don't think is working very well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Scheme's probably the biggest thing. Um, and what a disaster matching up a head coach and Russell Wilson, and it just not working at all. They gave Russell Wilson this big contract. What's probably going to happen is Nathaniel Hackett's going to get fired, and they're going to try to find the head coach that matches what Russell Wilson does well.
Hmm.
And I guess if that doesn't work, who knows? Maybe Russell Wilson is washed, maybe not. But as you can tell, this offense just has no rhythm to it. They have not been in rhythm at all. I mean, I'm like, even on their touchdown drives, I feel like they've had all this weird crap happen and they just pretty much lucked into a touchdown.
Hmm.
And they got Cortland Sutton, they got Jerry Judy, they got some playmakers, and there's absolutely no rhythm to that offense at all.
No, it's honestly really funny how similar Green Bay's offense looks this year to the Broncos' offense this year.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just weird because Nathaniel Hackett was one of the reasons why the Packers' offense was so good.
Yep.
And then now he leaves. Packers' offense looks bad, but then the Broncos' offense still looks bad. There's just like this weird. There's just something weird going on with Nathaniel Hackett, and I don't know what he left. Maybe it's just like him being a coordinator. There's a lot less pressure on him,
Yeah,
or
I could see that.
I mean, I don't know, but like this Packers offense needs Hackett again.
Yeah.
Broncos offense needs to get rid of Hackett. It's just such a funny element in the NFL going on.
It is weird, to be honest with you. And I'd be curious if that would actually be like if he got fired, if Green Bay would look to bring him back. But who knows if Aaron Rodgers is even going to be there next year? I
Hmm.
mean, there's been talk that he's planning to retire. You never know with him because he's just kind of an interesting personality and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and wishy-washy and everything.
Oh
But I could
man,
see like Nathaniel Hackett being like a tight ends coach next year.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
he's certainly not. He wouldn't be out of the NFL. I think
Right.
he could very easily work his way back into a coordinator position again.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe he turns around. They don't. He stays with the Broncos or something. But it's just the Packers. I think like Aaron Rodgers talked about how much he loved Nathaniel Hackett as his coach. He loved like what he did and what he could drop, and then like you just look on the Broncos side and there's no one really sticking their neck out for Hackett.
Yeah.
I think it's like kind of clear, like this is not the guy to be like leading our team. And I think this kind of also goes a little bit more into like Aaron Rodgers is kind of his whole self too, of like he doesn't need. Yeah, we had put that one up. Come on. Yeah, that's awesome. Like just who he is as a person, like, maybe he likes to be able to like have more like say over a coach,
Yeah.
like to say on the more say on the offense,
Right.
and Hackett now in Denver is like he's the guy, like there's no authority above him.
Yep.
Where like in Green Bay, it could have been Aaron Rodgers. He could have been, partial coordinator there.
Yeah, for
And so I
sure.
think that, that might have something to do with it.
I agree with you. I mean, I think this picture kind of explains both of their offenses this year so far. Just a disaster. I mean,
Mhm.
ugly and a disaster. Sorry, Rogers. I had to throw that in there. But it's just very interesting to see the dynamic between that one's missing Hackett and one has Hackett, and yet they're both just not looking good.
Falling flat, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so like odd. It's just like there's so many funny things. Like, why is the Packers offense worse? And their complaints, they don't run the ball. Broncos just don't run the ball very well. Like it's
Yeah.
just this. It's one of the strangest things I think I've like ever really been thinking about in the NFL. Is like, why does one guy leaving make the offenses worse on both ends of the spectrum? I mean,
It's
do you think it's more quarterback reliant or what?
I don't know. I think it comes down to coaching more than anything, to be honest
Mm,
with you. Because up to this point, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson have been elite talents.
mm-hmm.
And just this year, it just hasn't been the case. And I know Packers don't have Devontae Adams either. But when has that ever been an excuse that, an elite quarterback can't kind of, up the talent around him
Mm-hmm.
like Tom Brady has always done? These elite quarterbacks have always done. I mean, he still has Alan Lazard, who's a decent wide receiver. Robert Tunyon's a good tight end. Then he's got a couple good running backs. I mean, he's got some talent around there, and it should not look this bad.
No, I mean last year the Devontae Adams, and the year before that, I think Devontae missed like 4 games last year.
Yeah.
He missed a couple games, and it's like they would have produced, they would still win football games.
Yep.
It's just I don't think receivers. I mean, I don't think Devontae Adams being gone has been like the issue in Green Bay.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of things, but yeah,
It's
both ends,
almost
Broncos and Packers, weird.
it's almost hard to explain because it's a weird phenomenon. Like what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. Like you brought up, do you think it's more quarterback reliant, or do you think it's more of the coaching? Um, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic to look at for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you wanted to kind of go over? I know there were some other games we didn't get to or anything like that. Kind of an ugly one last night, Miami and Pittsburgh. Miami made some curious decisions at the end there,
They
but
did,
still ended
yeah.
up getting the W at least.
Yeah, it's good to see them win again, especially with Tua. I think that
Yeah.
the Dolphins are just one of the most fun teams to watch with how
Yep.
explosive they can be. But
Yep.
Kenny Pickett looked fine. I mean, he had obviously 2 horrendous interceptions, but
Yeah. You
like
expect that from a rookie quarterback. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it happens, and I thought overall he looked pretty good. That Steelers offense needs some work because they're still
For
stuck
sure.
in the 45-year-old Ben Roethlisberger offense, and I think
Yeah.
they need to let Kenny Pickett move a little bit more. Like he's only 24 and he's got some decent arm strength.
Yep. Exactly. And then the other game I was kind of looking at was the Seahawks continue to look pretty good. They kind of rout the Chargers a little bit. 37-23. Geno Smith still rolling. The Seahawks still rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, DK's hurt. I don't know if he's out a long time. I think it's wraps for the Seahawks. If DK's back, that is a playoff team, which is so wild to
Crazy to
think.
think. Yeah. Crazy to think. I think they have more wins right now through 7 weeks than I think anyone expected them to have like all year long.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are predicting like 4 or 5 wins for them at the beginning of the year, just because we haven't seen Geno Smith play. I mean, they don't have they have Tyler Lockett, they have DK Metcalf. Kenneth Walker has looked darn good.
Amazing.
Yeah, those rookie running backs have been looking good, and that defense is playing really well. And the Seattle had an amazing draft, like an amazing draft. I
Mm-hmm.
think they had like 5 or 6 starters from the draft.
Yeah, and they're gonna be picking in the top 10 again this year with Denver's pick.
It's crazy. What a trade that ended up being for them. I mean,
Hindsight is 2020.
yeah, it's crazy. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Russell Wilson getting traded, rebuild the next 4 or 5 years for Seattle."
Mhm.
They might not even enter a rebuild, to be
Mm-mm.
honest with you, because they're gonna have
No.
ammo to get a quarterback in the future if they want to, or keep adding weapons and pieces to that defense. So that's an interesting. I'm looking into next week. They play the Giants next week. I think that'll be a really
Oh.
fun game.
Yeah, I hope GK's back for that. I'd
Yeah,
love
I
to
hope
see
so
a
too.
fully powered Seahawks. That's
I
funny.
hope so.
Fully powered Seahawks offense led by Geno Smith.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, other than that, I'm sure we'll be back tomorrow. Got some more content coming your guys' way. But good week of football. Tonight we have who do we have? I don't know who it
Blah.
was.
Packers, Bears. Or Patriots, Bears, I mean.
Patriots Bears. Bears getting that primetime football this year for whatever reason. But
Yay.
yay.
What we all love to see.
I think Mac Jones was a game time decision, I think, right?
Ooh, personally, I'd go Zappy one more game. Just make
I
sure
would too.
Mac is healthy.
If it's a
I
game
don't,
time decision, yeah, just go with
yeah.
Bailey Zappi. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a real quarterback controversy. I think that's just started because Zappy's won a couple games, but
Um,
once Mac's healthy, I think he'll be back.
yeah, and I expect the Patriots to make that Bears offense look absolutely horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
I could see like a 2 or 3 interception day from Justin Fields if the Bears even let him throw the ball more than 15 times. He's had really good last 2 weeks. He's played really well.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Give him the keys to the offense and let him do it. So
yeah. Yeah, we'll see how Bears and then the Pats look tonight.
awesome. All righty. Well, I'm Brett. That's Max. We'll see you guys in the next one.